Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Got a great variety of guests for you today, and first of which, we're going to talk to Trillia Newbell. And actually, our own Paulina talked to her earlier. She's the author of a very interesting book entitled United, Captured by God's Vision of Diversity. I think you'll find their conversation to be pretty interesting. Let's join Paulina and Trillia now.
Well, Trillia, thank you for being with us today. Welcome to Focus Today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Your latest book, United, is clearly written out of your desire to show your readers, the audience, God's vision for diversity, in church especially. Tell us what that vision is.
Well, we see it throughout Scripture and definitely in Revelations of all nations worshiping together, all nations, tribes, and tongues. And so my vision is just to cast that scriptural vision for the church so that people can see that this is something that we can pursue.
So in other words, you feel like the churches should be integrating any nationality, any race. Is that kind of the basics of that?
Yes, the church should be a place where we see all people, all types of people, all walks of life, including ethnicity. And so the vision is that we can worship together, we can join together, because the family of God is already made up of all nations and all people and all tribes. So, but it's often not reflected on those Sunday mornings. And so what United does is just cast a vision for the accessibility of that.
Well, do you see it being a problem? Do you see that American churches are segregated? And you live in the South, so is it more there, perhaps?
Sure, yes. And we've heard the saying, Sunday mornings are the most segregated hour of the whole week. And so I think what you can see that. You can see that on Sunday mornings. You can see it definitely in the South. From my limited perspective, I definitely have seen it, experienced it as well.
Which church do you go to, if you don't mind me asking? Is it a specific denomination? Do you have... Go ahead.
Sure. Right now, I'm a part of a Southern Baptist church. Yeah.
And does that, I would assume you have all races there too?
No, it's actually because of where I am located. I'm in the Nashville area, but I'm in the outskirts of Nashville, and it is semi-diverse, but it's still predominantly white. And so the church reflects the community, though our desire and the pastor's desire is that we would bring all nations there. And so that's what our heart desire is. And so we seek to invite people from all walks of life.
Well, do you think it's the church not wanting to invite people or not being welcoming enough? Or is it the people not wanting to go to those churches?
That's a great question. I think it could be potentially both. I think some people gravitate towards those who are like themselves. So if there's a Black church that is available, you might have people who are going to gravitate towards that church. Or if there's a Korean church, you're going to have people who are going to gravitate towards that church. And so I think that there could be both. We also want to make sure that we are welcoming and open to visitors who are from all walks of life. And this isn't only cultural and ethnicity. This also is economical. We want people from all walks of life to be welcomed into our churches. And so each individual church and their body needs to evaluate that themselves and ask, are we a place where people feel welcomed?
What made you feel welcome at the church that you're in?
That I'm currently in? Well, to be really frank, the gospel, I think that when I hear the gospel preached every Sunday, and I see people who are loving the word and thus really loving in that also loving me, I just really, it's attractive. So that's the first thing that really attracted me to that church. In terms of feeling welcome, I've been invited to things. And I think that's really important. I feel welcomed into people's home. They've invited me to their homes, invited me to lunch, our whole family, to small groups. I think that's an important aspect of really reaching visitors, any visitor really, and loving people, is to open up your life to them and let them know you are welcomed into my life.
You know, I was listening to you now, and it made me realize that it's horrible that we're talking about it. I mean, that you would not be welcomed at somebody's home because of your skin color. Do we still have a problem in this country?
Absolutely. We don't have to go very far. We just had that, is it Donald Stern? I can't remember his name, the NBA issue. And then if we open up media, we see it all over the place. Racism is alive and well. And until Jesus returns, we're still going to be battling this because it's a heart issue. And our sinful hearts can be proud. And so yeah, absolutely. There are people who wouldn't welcome me into their home because of my skin color, not even having talked to me. But that's why I love the gospel. And that's why in United, I seek to try to share, okay, if we can get a gospel focus, then we can, it's what breaks down those barriers. It's what unites us.
All right, so we have the gospel, and it's the same gospel in the black church and the white church. And yet, you know, I lived in the South for a few years, and I've been to churches there, and I could tell, I mean, there is a different culture there.
Sure.
So how do you integrate that into, say, you know, a pastor may be listening right now, and he's thinking, yes, I would like more black people in my church. I want them to feel welcome. But does it mean I have to do X, Y, Z to make them feel welcome? Do I have to change the way we do the choir and the way we worship?
Sure. Yeah. Again, I think that what we want to think about is how can we love our neighbor as ourselves? So in churches, you do have to think about the culture of your church. Is it one that is welcoming? Is it one that is welcoming to the poor? Also, is it one that is welcoming to people? And so yeah, I think that's something that we need to think about. It's not just about ethnicity, getting more brown, you know, people in our congregations. We want to love them as well. And so if you're starting, yes, with the gospel, then it is, I think, appropriate to think about, okay, what are we doing in terms of our worship service? How can we serve our congregation? Now, what we don't want to do is get to the point where we're trying to make so many people happy that we forget the main thing. We forget the message. And I would hate for pastors to do that, to seek so much to please people that they're not actually serving them through the preaching of the word. And so I think we've got, there's a balance there that they're going to have to seek and pray through, and but it's something that I think is valid to think about.
Well, you're definitely passionate about this. Did you grow up this way? I mean, did your parents teach you to embrace diversity?
Yes, I had really just wonderful parents, and they taught me to love people. Really specifically, my father, he had experienced some pretty severe racism growing up and in the South as a young boy, and he showed me how to forgive people. He was a great example of forgiveness and loving people. We always had all sorts of people in our home. He was very welcoming, same with my mother. And just as he taught us about the civil rights movement, he never had a bitterness about him, or it's amazing to think about now. But he always extended love.
And speaking of love, you married a white man, and now you're raising two beautiful children. Before I get to your children, how how difficult was it to have this, interracial marriage? Have you had any challenges?
Amazingly, we haven't. We haven't had any challenges with each other, and we've had minimal challenges outside of each other. So the community seems to embrace us. We have been heckled before. We have experienced racism against our marriage, but overall, we've been welcomed. We do know that there are many people who still, to this day, are uncomfortable with the idea of interracial marriage. But thankfully for us, we've had a family that's been welcoming and loving, and we've sought to just get to know each other and love each other and know our differences and know that they exist and just be one. I'm really thankful for that.
Well, that's wonderful. And the book that we're talking about today is called United, Captured by God's Vision for Diversity by Trillia Newbell. And in the very beginning of the book, where you give your dedication, it says, "This book is dedicated to my children. I pray when you get older, you would wonder why Mom would write such a book." As we close this interview, can you explain that wish of yours?
Yeah, I hope that my kids just don't experience much or minimal racism, and that their churches would be diverse, so that it would be almost silly. Like, Mom, what was that about? And that is my prayer for them, that they would experience Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for little black kids and little white kids holding hands, but that it wouldn't just be in our public sphere, it would be in our churches, and that they would see it, they would experience it, and that they would be experience that last day today, and that the book would almost be obsolete, which no author really hopes that. But I do. I hope that, because that means that the Lord has been working mightily for our churches to be integrated.
Well, I hope your book becomes obsolete in a few years.
Yes.
And we'll be praying for you, and have a wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Fascinating. And the book is entitled United, Captured by God's Vision for Diversity. Okay, moms, how about living on a budget and staying on schedule? Is it possible? Probably not. Well, we'll give it a shot. Coming up next.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at the Dove TV. Did you know that when you support the Dove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Okay, we're back. Delighted to have in the studio with us today Lynnae McCoy. Well, first of all, she's the wife of Jim McCoy, who works here at the Dove and our sports guy. But she is a professional in her own right. She is a professional blogger, and she's with us today talking about living on a budget, being frugal, and staying on schedule. Yeah, right.
Good stuff.
Well, first of all, let me say this. Go to LynnaeMcCoy.com. That is her website, and you can see some really great articles there. And it looks like you kind of put together a week with various things on the day, from backyard campout fun to, you got Wednesday in the Word and some other things going on.
Yep.
Well, how did you get into this? Out of necessity?
Kind of. My husband and I really wanted to get out of debt. We had some credit card debt. And I just started a blog that I no longer blog at, but it was just to hold myself accountable for our spending and for paying off our credit card debt and everything. And it just kind of, I started it at the beginning of the recession, and it just took off. So.
And it worked.
It did.
And you're free from that.
Yes.
What a feeling, huh?
Yes.
All right, but you know, people caught on to it. I know you blogged for Walmart, and so the whole budget thing. I think everybody wants to know about the budget thing and managing holidays and vacations. You're a mother of 3. How do you do all this on a budget? What do you do to force yourself to stay true to your budget?
You have to know your priorities, what's important to you, and then you just kind of plan your life around your priorities, because nobody can do it all and nobody can afford it all.
Right.
So, you know, for us, vacations are important, but we have other things that we need to pay for too, obviously food, housing, and all that. So our vacations tend to be fairly frugal, camping, things like that. So we make sure we work in the fun stuff, but we look for ways to save money on the things that are maybe lower on our priority list.
You talk about this on your blog at the website.
Bit, yeah.
Scheduling. Now, this has got to be the one that's really something. I know a lot of women will sit down, they'll write out a schedule. By the end of the day, it's just completely blown apart. How do you stay focused on a schedule?
I make use of a free tool online.
Okay.
It's cozy.com, C-O-Z-I, and it's a free calendar. And you can make appointments for different people in your family, and they color code it, and it'll send it to your smartphone, and at the beginning of the week it emails us what our schedule is for the week. So as far as places we need to be, I always have that on me, on my phone. Oh yeah. So that if I'm at the orthodontist office and they say we need to schedule your next appointment, I just take out that phone and I've got everything on it. So I know when I can schedule things.
Cozy.com?
Yes, C-O-Z-I.
Okay, now, and that, and you keep your family on that.
Oh yeah.
Do you wake up Jim with that?
No, I don't. He's in charge of waking himself up.
So that's got to be a real tool. I mean, for what you do and the schedule, especially with kids and everything.
Yeah, it is, and it sends text message alerts to our phones. So the 3 older, my 2 youngest, don't have cell phones, but
So you got 3 children, a hubby, your household, and you're keeping everybody's schedule. Do you get stressed out?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I thought maybe you were stress free or something.
No, not at all. It does get stressful, and fortunately, my family recognizes when I'm getting stressed, and they give me a little time. Yeah, pretty much.
Let me ask you this: going from credit card debt to a budget. I mean, that's quite a leap.
It is.
But you have experienced the one thing that it does. A, you're living within your means, and B, you have peace in your life.
That's right.
What was it like before you did that?
It was always scary. We'd have an emergency and it'd be like, well, what do we do? What do we do? The car broke down, and that's when the credit card would usually come out, is because we didn't. And we realized that we needed to make some changes in our employment because we just weren't bringing in enough money to basically make it. And so we did that, and blogging for me has helped a lot, and that brings in a little bit extra, and we use that a lot for the extra things. And you know, sometimes you need to recognize, is it an income problem or is it an outgo problem? And you know, sometimes it can be a little bit of both. Okay,
and let me just encourage you again, if you want to check out Lynnae's blogs and everything out, LynnaeMcCoy.com is the website, and you can correspond with her there. All right, I want to shift gears just for a moment.
Okay.
You and Jim did something really incredible a couple of years ago. You thought you were done with diapers and playpens and toys.
We did.
And you were going to the next stage of life. Your children were now moving towards that kind of middle school years and everything. And you decided to adopt a little girl, Gracie.
Yes.
And we prayed for you here many times during our staff meetings. The process that you guys went through. Tell us about that, because she has changed your life.
Oh, she has. In fact, I remember we were on vacation in August. I guess it's been, I don't know, August 2010, so almost 4 years ago. And my son was in a car seat. He was 7 going on 8. And I remember remarking to Jim, this is the end of the baby equipment. Yeah. We're done. Our next vacation, we're not going to have any baby equipment. None, because John's going to be out of a car seat.
Wow.
And we came home, and the night we came home from our vacation, I got an email saying that a relative baby of ours was in foster care. And that changed our lives. Yeah.
So a relative's baby's in foster care. You didn't want that to be.
No.
So what happened? I mean,
it was incredible. Our whole extended family just kind of rallied around this baby, and we decided that we were open to taking her into our home as our own child, and we all just kind of went together, and we, you know, my aunt and uncle would go to court because that was in California, and we weren't near there, so we weren't even near where this was. And
you were kind of down on the list, weren't you? I mean, you weren't at the top of the list as the first one who would automatically get her.
We were not, no.
Okay.
No.
So what happened?
Well, we were out of state, so that worked against us because that's a lot more paperwork.
Yeah.
And so that went against us. And, you know, we weren't in town, so they looked at we couldn't bond and all that. But Gracie's biological father wanted her placed with us, so that went in our favor. And we were just there every step of the way, and, you know, on the phone with the social workers. I flew down there 3 times while she was in foster care, so that we could meet her and bond with her and everything. We got to know the foster parents, and over time they saw that, yes, we are committed to this little girl, and this isn't just some whim we're going through. And so we just got to know all of the players, and they eventually came around and said, yes, this would be a good family.
Well, it's an amazing, I remember that we prayed every step of the way with you guys through this, and there was a time you were with her, but the adoption wasn't final. That was kind of a risky moment.
It was. We were technically foster parents at that time. And so we spent a year as foster parents, and we had to, basically, the social worker had to come every month and, you know.
Make sure everything was right.
Exactly. And, you know, there was a possibility at that time that they could have taken her away. We were fairly sure at that time. The most uncertain time was before she moved up with us. We didn't know what the judge would say.
How does this change your life?
Well, I had to go back to diapers.
Well, okay, yeah. And the car seat never went away.
The car seat never went away. We had more baby equipment on our next vacation.
Yeah.
So, but it's changed our lives hugely. Not only our lives, but our extended family. My aunt and uncle moved up here to be closer to her, and you know, we are closer to extended family members that we weren't before, just because.
And your 2 biological children, how were they impacted?
It was interesting. My daughter wasn't the only girl anymore. My son wasn't the baby of the family anymore. But despite their age differences, my kids right now are 16, 11, and 3. It's amazing how close they are. You know, you wouldn't think that kids so different would be so close, but they are.
Well, you know, talk a little bit about somebody who's thinking about adoption. And I realize it's a process.
It is.
And you got to have a lot of patience.
You do.
And you got to go through a lot of crazy things, but you stuck with it. What would you say to somebody who's considering this?
It's definitely a process that's worth it. You know, we specifically know about the foster adopt process because that's how we did it. A lot of risk involved, and there's a lot of heartache, a lot of ups and downs. I always say that it's much harder than pregnancy. Yeah. It is, because you're on this constant emotional roller coaster.
9 months of another kind, right?
You're on this emotional roller coaster. Is she coming to live with us? Is she not? No, it looks like she is. No, she's not.
In the meantime, you're bonding with her.
Yeah.
You're starting to love her like your own.
Right.
And the possibility that it may not happen
is hard.
Wow.
It's hard, but it's a risk you take. And I looked at it as, with my own biological children, you never know what's going to happen. God gives you your children as a gift for as long as you have them, and you love them, and you just don't know. And so you have to take that risk.
Wow. All right, so little Gracie came in. She's a talker. I will say this. We call her the talking machine. Yak, 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 yak. But it's been a remarkable thing to see happen, and your whole family has changed because of it. Would you do it again?
I'm done. I would.
Well, you're being honest. That's good.
No, you know, I don't have any regrets about adopting Gracie. It was absolutely the right thing to do for her, for our family, for everything. Absolutely. At this point, I feel like our family's complete, and we're not going to go there again. But I have absolutely no regrets. It was a great
you know
thing
what's so
do.
interesting is, as a family now, you say you're complete, but look you're a different family than when you started out.
We are.
And it's been a great experience.
It has been. Absolutely.
Lynnae, you're a delight. Let me just say, LynnaeMcCoy.com, and her website is an incredible resource. Ladies, if you're having a hard time sticking to a schedule, you're trying to figure out budgets, you're looking for frugal ways to save money, you got a lot of tips in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of tips in there. Correspond with her, LynnaeMcCoy.com. Thanks for coming. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day to your whole family and those 3 wonderful children.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at the Dove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at the Dove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us. or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Hi, we're back, and again, we have another heartwarming story and special guest with us today. Kain's with us today, and her daughter Lauren have authored a book called A Unique Life Fully Lived, a personal journey of love, hope, and courage. And I think you'll find this to be fascinating because it deals with dealing with special needs children. Kain, nice to have you. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, first of all, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
Well, listen, fascinating book as you deal with the subject of living and dealing with special needs children. Tell us Lauren's story.
Well, in 1994, I gave birth to Lauren, and it was the only thing I really ever wanted to do was to be a mom and a wife. At 6 weeks of age, I took her in to have her one and only DPT vaccine, and she had a seizure 2 hours after that. And then 2 hours after that, she had another seizure. And Lauren had 5-minute tonic-clonic seizures, which means the entire body is involved. Her hands were shaking, her feet were shaking, her eyes were blinking, and she was crying and screaming. And on that day, my life changed forever. In the beginning, of course, I felt that I was being punished. I felt that something was wrong with me, and how did I deserve this? And I really focused a lot of my time on fixing Lauren because she ended up having severe brain damage from the vaccination, and it just went and attacked her brain. So she never had any head control or trunk control. She never walked. She never talked. She was cortically blind because when the brain doesn't work, the entire body doesn't work. She ended up being fed by a feeding tube. And she ended up at 5 getting a trach where she breathed out of a hole in her neck. And of course, I was a wounded mother and did everything I could to fix her. And she taught me the beauty of Lauren was that she just taught me she was so peaceful with who she was and what was going on. And I really always felt that she was drawn to God. I used to read her different books, but the book that she always listened to was the Bible. It seemed like she became really peaceful. And what she really taught me was that she was perfect the way she was, and she was here to do God's work. And I really needed to heal myself and heal my attitude towards that and towards her. Wow. So I really needed, as a mother, to dig deep into my beliefs and why she was here.
Boy, what a story. Certainly that transition of your own heart didn't happen overnight. There was a period of time, I'm sure you were just going, what in the world am I in for?
I was a desperate mom, and I cried all the time. In the beginning, I cried for days. I think I had the typical feelings that every parent feels. I felt really isolated. It was before the internet, so I didn't have any friends that had children who are unique. But the thing was that Lauren just always stayed strong, and when her smile was so bright, I knew that she was important, and I just had to kind of really shift my focus. In the beginning, I started, I went back to church. I went back to looking at all my beliefs because, of course, I felt that I was being punished. But what I was learning, and it really took till about Lauren was 3, when I realized that she was just perfect the way she was. And I told her I was going to love her and take care of her. And when she was ready to go, that I would be okay. Because I really felt like she was doing God's work. And I think a lot of parents, there's so much involved with children with special needs that we're constantly running around doing 100 different things, and we feel beaten anyways. And when the society rejects you and, they put you aside because they don't want to catch it or they don't know what to say, it's very, very difficult. So I really felt like Lauren was just my teacher, and I loved her, and we just were strong together. And I wanted to show the community how peaceful she was with her life and how much fun we were having.
Fascinating. Tell us about her school experience.
It's my very favorite part of life. Well, Lauren and I, every year in January, we would sit down and make goals. And Lauren, she was a very powerful young lady, so we would pray together. Even though she wasn't communicating with words, I always felt she was communicating inside, and she would communicate with her expressions. So I would go over and talk to her about what she wanted, and I would trust my gut. And one year, she was 11, and she wanted friendships. And, I would pray a lot with Lauren, and so we just prayed about what we wanted to set our goals. And so our goals were to have friends. And that happened in middle school. And Lauren was very sick all the time. The doctors used to always pull her out of school. And so I bribed her pediatrician saying, you know, if we let Lauren stay in school, we'll take her out if she gets sick. So I told Lauren, I said, you have to be really well. And then another blessing came in when her nurse, Debbie, came. So Debbie was a woman that I met when Lauren was going into 6th grade. And Debbie, total Christian, came over and just was really open to Lauren. She fell in love with Lauren. And Debbie and I worked together to get her to have friends. So it wasn't very easy. We both cried a lot trying to put that process in because, you know, middle school is kind of a difficult age. Right. But one day, Debbie just got up in front of class and said to the class that, you know, this is Lauren and she has brain damage. And she just told her a little bit about how Lauren did things. And a boy raised his hand and said, can she walk? And she said, no. Can she talk? No. Can she see? Well, no. Then he said, is she the worst disabled kid ever? And she said, well, maybe at this school, but come into the class and you can say hi to her and her friends. So on that day, 2 different groups of girls actually came in and saw Lauren and met all of Lauren's classmates. And from that day forward, they came in every single day. They came in on the bus to see what she was wearing, to make sure she was awake, because Lauren would sometimes nap at school. And they started working in her class and they just became friends with her. And I thought that being a parent of a severely disabled child that, you know, I would never have friends for her. And that really hurt my heart. But this magical thing, you know, we prayed about it and then all of a sudden, and we worked really hard and things started happening. And so Debbie started calling me and asking me all kinds of questions. The girls want to know about this. The girls want to know about this. They wanted to know what she watched on TV, if she cried, if I loved her. And then she said, the girls want to know if she's ever had a sleepover. And I said, well, no. Do you think they want to have one? And so she said, yes, I do. So from that day forward, we had sleepovers. Lauren had a best friend named Sarah Rivera. She went to camp with her. We went to Disneyland. And it was just, you know, I think both of our biggest dreams of just having friends.
You know, what's so powerful about this, Karen, is not only for you and for the life of Lauren, but look what you have done to her friends.
Her friends still, well, Sarah Rivera and I are very close still, but her friend just wrote me the other day and said that I think of Lauren every day and I miss her and I love being part of her life. And one of the best compliments was that Sarah told me that she never knew Lauren was that sick. And Lauren's bedroom was decorated cute and we had fun and we did Rock Band and Guitar Hero and we watched scary movies. And we just really had a lot of fun. And I think that parents need to be reminded, especially on Mother's Day, that this is the most important job that any mother will ever have. And I know it's a lot of hard work, but every time I speak to families, I say this one quote because I really believe that it kind of summed up everything for Lauren. And it is, God often uses those considered unimportant in the world's eyes to reveal his will. And I really believe that's what Lauren was about. Wow. She was this little tiny girl that with love and faith and her strength and courage, she really changed the way people did their lives.
Wow. This is incredible, and I'm going to run out of time, but let me ask you a couple of things quickly. I understand that she got a prom dress. You may want to talk about the prom, the date, and then entering into Miss Teen Pasadena. Can you wrap that up real quick? I mean, those are big things.
I never thought that my daughter would have friends, and I never thought that she would go to the 8th grade graduation. It actually was with her friends. We had a big makeup party, and then she went and she danced with a boy 6'2" all night long. In high school, she went to the homecoming dance with 4 or 5 seniors, and I wasn't invited, but that was very age appropriate for her. And she took her nurse. And then what was the last one? Oh, about the beauty pageant. She ended up being in a beauty pageant with 240 mainstream girls. And I was really nervous, and I think she was too. But I think by just going out there, the girls were kind of attracting to her, and they wanted to ask questions, and they were jealous because she had the coolest wheelchair. So I want to really remind moms to just get out there and hold your head up high and be the change that you want to see by others, and know that you're doing a really important job, and our children are beautiful, no matter their ability.
Well, you're a great advocate for this. I understand you travel all over the country and in other countries talking about special needs children. What do you want parents to take away from your book?
I want parents to have hope. I want parents to know that they're doing important work, and I want parents to know, and their friends and their family, that every child is important. These are God's children. We're all here, and we're important and to be celebrated. So please, take care of yourself so you can enjoy your child and have as much fun as possible.
Well, Karen, you are an inspiration. Thank you. The book is entitled A Unique Life Fully Lived, A Personal Journey of Love, Hope, and Courage by Lauren and Karen Kain. There's a picture up there. You're holding it up a little bit higher. There you go. Good. Very good. Hey, thank you so much, and stay in touch, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Happy Mother's Day. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at the Dove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on the Dove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
All right, we're back. It's always a delight to have our good buddy and sailmate in the studio with me today, Bryan Platt. And, of course, he heads up Jackson County Right to Life. And we are going to talk about the petition drive coming up in a moment. But you have a special guest.
I do, Perry. And this is just really a privilege to have Anna Goldmann with us. She's from Eagle Point. She's a homeschooler senior. And she was a member of the high school speech and debate club, of which there are quite a few members, and they prepared and presented a pro-life speech as part of Oregon Right to Life's statewide oratory contest.
Wow.
Anna won Jackson County's contest. She then went to the state for the state Oregon Right to Life convention, and she won the state convention. It was so exciting. This is the second year in a row for Jackson County, so we have a really good group. And so she is going to Louisville in June to compete nationwide.
Wow.
And I invited her in here to present her speech to the audience, and I'm sure everybody will be enlightened and enjoy it very much. So Anna, please, take it away.
Take it away.
Okay, so there is a quote by the beloved book and now movie Horton Hears a Who that states, "A person is a person, no matter how small." Though many of us love the story, have you ever thought about that quote? The whole story is based upon it. A person is a person, no matter how small. In our day and age, we acknowledge that a 1-month-old is just as much a person as a 55-year-old. Though size is different, they are both humans. And though some may see eye to eye about as much as a pastor and an atheist do, they are both humans. The legal dictionary states murder as, quote, killing with no legal excuse or authority, unquote. We all realize taking life is wrong, but to what point? Now, this seems like a silly question. However, it's a very undervalued question. In America, out of every 10 women, 4 will have an abortion. But abortion to most women is not murder. They're not taking life, merely unwanted tissue. Allow me to ask a simple question. How do you know I'm alive? Well, I'm breathing and I have a heartbeat, right? Those are the 2 most obvious ways to tell if someone is alive. From conception, the entire genetic code is there. Within 18 days, there is a discernible heartbeat. Most women don't even find out they're pregnant till around 5 weeks. Within 6 weeks, brain waves are present, and at 12 to 13 weeks, the baby can suck its thumb and recoils from pain. Pastor R.C. Sproul said, quote, "Some call it sewage, but I've never seen sewage with brainwaves or a heartbeat. It is a human life," unquote. TFP's Student Action states on their website that abortion is, quote, "the slippery slope." Yesterday it was contraception. Today it's abortion and same-sex marriage. Will it be widespread euthanasia tomorrow? Then what? Once abortion is universally accepted, what other forms of logic will stop murder and brutality? Unquote. Jeremiah 1:5 says, quote, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to nations." Unquote. How How can we in the early stages of life say it's not life when the one who made it and gave it says it is? Not only is it life, but he has a plan for that life. Again, the legal definition of murder is, quote, killing with no legal excuse or authority. Do I have the right to murder someone just because they're an inconvenience? Or is it okay to kill someone if their life depends on you for it? A mother's womb was once the safest place to be. Now, it's the most dangerous. And at the time when a child's life should be protected the most, it's aborted. Pro-choice people say it's a woman's choice. However, 36-year-old Gianna Jensen at 7.5 months was aborted. Or supposed to be. However, she survived. She says, quote, if abortion is merely about a woman's rights, where were mine? There was no feminist in the room yelling about my rights. In fact, there was only a woman killing my rights. Unquote. There's another question. Do they have rights? Why wouldn't they? Does the person who is deaf have rights? Would we really justify killing them just because they didn't say otherwise? Also, many believe it's a religious belief and that you're free to choose. Well, what about spousal abuse? That's not even murder. Yet we do not leave that up to your religious belief. 1.5 million American families want to adopt. There's no such thing as an unwanted child. Only in the case of abortion do we use nonsense for an argument. Proverbs 31:8 says, quote, open your mouth for the speechless in the cause of all who are appointed to die, unquote. It says, open your mouth, not vote against it, and if it goes through, raise your shoulders and say, oh well, I did what I could. It says, open your mouth for the speechless and the weak, not do whatever you want, God will be happy. It says to open your mouth for those appointed to die. Since 1973, more than 50 million women have made appointments for abortion. Appointments for death. Death to those who have rights but cannot speak of them. At Southern Texas, Dr. Curtis Boyd, a late-term abortionist, states, quote, am I killing? Yes, I am. I know that, unquote. A day is coming when you will stand before God and give an account for everything you've done or not done. In that moment, you'll realize that there is no one to point at. Shifting the blame won't be an option, or saying you are too busy to change somebody's heart is not going to please Jesus. What will your answer be when God says, I heard millions of cries, babies being torn apart, sucked out, or burned alive in their mother's womb? Tell me, why did you turn your back? Are you doing everything you can to stand up for someone's life, or to help those who have had an abortion and now suffer the consequences? I'm asking you to care about those around you, to not look down and keep walking, but to see murder, pain, and abuse, and act upon it. Remember, a person is a person, no matter how small. Thank you.
Well,
I'm speechless. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. It's wonderful. I mean, it hits you hit so many key points in the whole debate. I mean, and yet you tie it together. And it just so happens that Horton Hears a Who happens to be one of my favorite books. So you had me right at the beginning on this thing. But, you know, Perry, Anna's speech is, I mean, it's fabulous, and everybody was fabulous. And part of this that's so exciting to me is to see these young people engaged. Anna will never forget this speech. I remember, memorizing things from the fifth. You'll never forget this. Yeah. It's in your psyche now, and that we're training up this young. We're the old fogies now. We're training. Come on. All right, you're the old fogey.
No,
So having these young people at this level of understanding of the concepts here is just fabulous.
Anna,
Thank you so much.
That is just spectacular, and our prayers go with you as you go off. When is that going to be? In June?
June, yeah. I
June,
think the beginning.
Yeah, sometime.
That is so passionately done and so beautifully written. So thank you so much. I don't know what to say, folks. I would hope that you will take this segment of Focus Today, it'll be up on our website probably sometime late today, and take this speech that Anna just gave and send it to all your friends.
There you go. Just
take the YouTube address and send that to as many. Let this thing go viral across the country out of the Dove here this morning. We're going to have you back quickly and update on the petition.
Yeah, and so what a segue.
Yeah.
I mean, what a segue. So the deadline that was Mother's Day is now the end of June.
Okay.
We don't have enough signatures.
Okay.
Interestingly, I've been watching the website every day. The count is going up by over 1,000. Very exciting.
Good.
But the bottom line is the pressure's back on.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to get this job done.
Okay.
If you haven't had your church do a signature gathering collection process, you need to approach your pastoral leadership.
Yeah.
If they have said no or say, you know, I'm just not comfortable with that, then let me give you some sheets. You can take them out and circulate them amongst your friends and your group within the church, and let's get it going that way. The church is the answer to getting these signatures, Perry, and we have until the end of June at this point in time.
All right, and I think we're working together on some special arrangements to even increase that. Well, folks, I just want to encourage you. Your tax dollars are paying for 11 abortions a day in the state of Oregon. You say, what? Yes, your tax dollars. We can stop that by getting this petition signed. So if you haven't signed it, make sure you do sign it. And if you haven't done it in your church, pastors, I beg you, please give this serious and prayerful consideration to do a signature day in your church. It's totally legal. You can call me, call Bryan, and we'll get it out. Anna, I'm just blown away. It was just beautiful. It's very, 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 very moving. And,
you know, and also Anna will be at our meeting Monday night. So if someone would like to come and meet Anna, we've invited her to our chapter meeting at First Baptist Church at 7 o'clock. She'll be speaking probably pretty close to 7.
Okay.
And we'd love to have people come, engage themselves in the meeting of the Right to Life chapter to meet Anna, and maybe encourage their young people to get involved. This is an annual event.
Definitely.
Been a few years actually that we've actually had it going in Jackson County, even though it's been going statewide longer than that. So we want these young people to become involved. The level of competition has dramatically, I mean, this is no slouch deal anymore. I mean, you've got to be on your game, to be competitive. And our chapter was stunned at the quality of the people that participated at Jackson County. And then we come to the state level, and now it's up here, and all of them were just, I mean, it's like, this is some heady stuff.
This is great. Well, this is the next generation, too. Again, let me remind you that Anna's speech here this morning, or today, will be up on the Dove website a little bit later on this afternoon. Go to thedove.us, click it on, and take this segment and send it to your family and friends everywhere. We could go viral with this. It's out there. All right. Well,
Anna gets to. She gets to.
All right. We've been giving away a Mother's Day gift. Yesterday, the winner was Patty May. So, Anna, I'm going to let you draw in there. This is the last of the baskets. We're giving away a beautiful hanging basket. We're giving away some candy. You ever had Carrie's candy?
Oh, yes, I have.
Have you?
Yes.
You can't eat one piece, huh? You got to have two. It's like potato chip.
More than one.
And we're giving away a car wash. So reach in there and grab a name.
Okay.
And we're going to let you draw the name out today. The last winner of the Dove Mother's Day basket is?
Carrie Hovis.
Carrie Hovick.
Yep. Okay.
Congratulations, Carrie. And let me have that so we don't get it mixed up with the others. And congratulations. Well, again, Bryan, what can folks do if they don't have a petition? What can they do?
Well, they can get a hold of me, 821-4773. They can go online, Oregon2014.org. We have official approval from the statewide Nazarene churches. We have official approval to circulate from statewide Assembly of God churches.
Wow.
We have official approval from the Catholic Church statewide.
Wow.
So if you belong to any of those churches and your pastor hasn't broached this subject, approach them, because they have been given official permission. That's or however wonderful. That works.
All right, the Catholics, the Nazarenes, and the Assembly
of Gods. Let's go.
We're closing out on it. Again, thank you, Anna. Blessings. That was just beautiful. That's just beautiful. All right. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at the Dove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.